Good morning. This is Desiree, and today I wanted to go through and show you the vintage Sheaffers that I kept, and I got him back from the restorer. He did a great job. We used Aaron at Penteeks, if anybody is interested. He was prompt. He did really quality work. I was really happy, and I already have him back. So I'm going to compare. I'm going to show you the nibs. They're all 14 karat gold. And do a little comparison, and we will do some swatches and just a few little writing samples of these. I'm going to show 4 of them today. This one, the dolphin, I am going to wait on because it's actually a cartridge filler, and I'm not at home right now, so I don't have any cartridges to put in there. But I have dipped it, and it writes really beautifully. And of course it's called a dolphin because it looks like a little dolphin face there. So I will do that one in an upcoming video as well. It's definitely one of my faves, so put that one aside. The other 4 that I decided to keep are starting with this one. This one and this one are both touchdowns. They're vacuum fillers. They're called vacuum fillers. They work in that way. They're both really nice. They work really easily. These are all full of ink right now, so I'm not going to demonstrate the process of filling them. But both of these touchdowns, you unscrew the back cap, pull the cylinder out, put it into the ink, push that down, and it creates a vacuum and it sucks the ink up, and it works really smoothly now. And it has, of course, a new little sack for the ink. So this one, if you can see that nib, this is a medium. It writes as a medium point really smoothly. And again, if you saw in my previous video, I explained a little bit more about these, but both of these touchdowns have an amber plastic, transparent plastic, where you can see the ink in there a little bit. So that is the first touchdown, and I don't tend to post pens because my hands are really small, but it posts really nice. This one is filled with the Diplomat Pine Tree sample, and I will put that into my currently inked here. This is the 9th. And this is the vintage. Sheaffer medium, 14 karat gold. Nib, and I am using Diplomat Pine Tree ink. It's a very wet ink. This is on Tomoe River paper. And it just writes really smooth. So that's on Tomoe River paper. This is in my Clairefontaine notebook. And it's really smooth. And this is in my Rhodia paper. This one may have just a little bit more tooth, a little bit more feedback, which I actually do really like. I know a lot of people have commented that they like the Rhodia, the Clairefontaine, and the Leuchtturm a little bit more just because it has a little bit of tooth so that you can actually feel the writing. So that is, again, this touchdown with the medium nib. So the next one is also a touchdown, really similar. It also has the amber plastic that you can see the ink in. This is a different shape nib, a little bit smaller. Let me see. I think it might be good. They're both medium nibs, and they tend to work right very similarly. And this one actually has the Rohrer and Klinger violet in it. This is a really wet ink, so it's pretty wet for this medium nib, but I also have it in an upcoming pen here, which you'll see in just a second. And this is again the Rohrer and Klinger Cassia. Very wet ink. Okay. So the Clairefontaine. These nibs just are working really well, really like them. The whole pen is just great. I really like the touchdowns. They're really easy to fill. They write really well. And this is the Rhodia. Yeah, it writes really nice on this paper. Really nice. Okay. So the next one is a little bit different. And it's extra fine nib, really extra fine. And it is a Snorkel. So with Snorkels, you extend that little tube, which is the Snorkel, and it can go down into any ink bottle, which is really nice. You pull the plunger back, and it fills the same way as the touchdown in terms of putting it in the ink and pushing down on the plunger and creating a vacuum and getting the ink sucked up, which is pretty cool. Really extra fine nib. And so I also put this ink in it because it's really a wet ink. So this one, I forgot to put the names of these. This is also Vintage Sheaffer Extra Fine, but it is a Snorkel. I'll have to add in the other names. 14 karat gold nib, also with the same violet. And on the Clairefontaine, you can see how fine this writes. Definitely with a lot more feedback. Not scratchy, but with a lot of feedback. again. Here's the Rhodia notebook. This just writes unbelievably fine. So again, that's the Snorkel. And last but not least, I have the True Vacuum Fill. And this is a different style nib. I don't know if that's coming out very well on my hand. I think that looks better. Should have been showing them on that. And this is a fine writer. And this one I filled with Noodler's Walnut sample. So this is also, it writes almost as fine as the Snorkel, but not quite. Vintage Sheaffer fine. This is a True Vacuum Fill. And it's a nice ink for it. Okay. I'll show you the vacuum fill here in a second. Yeah, they all write really well. I think I tend to like this Rhodia paper. Those are very similar though. So this one is a True Vacuum Fill. So when you pull it out, I don't want to pull it all the way out, but you'll see the little rod in there. So it works very similarly to the Touchdowns, but it has a vacuum system inside that's more complicated. So anyway, I'm really happy with all of these vintage pens. Again, I will show you the Dolphin and how it writes once I get some cartridges in it at home. Here's one last picture of the nibs. Hopefully you can see those pretty well in the comparison. As I said, I really am enjoying the pens. They're very balanced, they're very light, they fill easily. The nibs are just, you know, a joy to write with. I'm really glad that my dad kept them for us. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.